Hey, it's customary these days, if you're going to talk about something intense that could potentially be upsetting or destabilizing to people, to issue a trigger warning. And I'm going to do that now. This video could easily be upsetting and triggering if you are feeling fragile or easily triggered. So if you're feeling a little unstable already, probably better not to watch anymore. I have been fortunate to be present or involved at the deaths of several people who have died consciously, with awareness, with acceptance. Most recently was my very close friend John Gray, with whom I wrote the book Conscious Men. His wife Bonnie died almost exactly a year ago, and it was with tremendous grace. She put up a valiant bid for life. She did everything she could to live, but when it came time to let go, she knew how to let go, and therefore died in peace. And there is a sequence, where if you get sick, initially there's a little bit of a shock. I am sick, I've never been sick, they're like this. And then you do research, you do everything you can to find a way to survive. And you sometimes you even grasp onto faint hopes. You might travel across the world and do some special new treatment because you really want to live. But then there comes a point where you realize that the struggle is causing more suffering than simply relaxing and realizing everything that has a beginning in time has an end, and there is a time to go, there is a time to relax. And then you can die with gratitude, you can die with grace, you can die with dignity, because you've lived fully and now you're going to let go. So once again, I'm going to just warn you that the rest of what follows could be quite triggering. So once again, if you feel unstable, you should not watch anymore. So the conversation about Earth and humanity and the environment, I don't know if you've noticed, has been turned up many notches this year, with the burning of the Amazon, burning of the Arctic, our understanding of what this means in terms of the acceleration of global warming, the acceleration of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, the reduction of oxygen, as well as the report from the United Nations that came out 6 or 8 weeks ago now, which predicted we were going to lose 1 million species in the next 20 years. That's phenomenal, 1 million species in the next 20 years, of which it is quite possible among those 1 million species could be these insects which pollinate, which have been under tremendous threat already, particularly bees. So it actually has come time, in my opinion, in the sequence of things, to recognize the possibility that we may be getting close to the end. And that is incomparably devastating to everything that the mind is familiar with. Because all we know, anything that you can think of, anything you can remember, anything you can dream of at night, it is all made up of data that you got from being a human being on planet Earth. Have you noticed that? Every time you dream a dream of being a human being on planet Earth. That's all that we have. So the possibility that human existence is in jeopardy and everything we're familiar with is in jeopardy is unbelievably devastating. And yet, just like with a human being who is facing their own death, to continue to struggle with this means you either go into denial or a kind of desperate panic, both of which are very unpleasant states to be in. So of course, just like my friend who died, who continued to explore the most miraculous remedies possible. And there was always the chance that the diagnosis could be turned around. It was cancer. Of course, you go on looking for the latest injection, the latest alternative remedy, the latest anything. There also comes a time when the most graceful thing is to also include the acceptance that this may be it. That doesn't mean you give up trying. You continue to hope for a miracle to the end, but at some point you need to be able to introduce the possibility that if we go, we go, and it's with gratitude. Because everything that begins in time has to end in time, if you think about it. There isn't any exception to that. Anything that has a beginning in time must have an end in time. This rock that we are sitting on or standing on right now, which is we call it Earth. This rock that has, a lot of it is water on the surface. It had a beginning in time, right? What is it, 2 billion years or something? And because it had a beginning in time, at some point it will collapse back into the sun, and that will be the end in time. These are huge time frames, of course, but everything that has a beginning has an end. So, again, repeat of the trigger warning, but what if this is it? What if the clock is ticking quite fast now? And what if this is it? Is there a possibility to continue to look for solutions, to continue to try and change the mindset of very destructive politicians? And I'm talking specifically about, leadership in Brazil and in America, where there is a really bullish denial of not only the problems we face, but therefore also the solutions. A denial of climate change, a denial of the importance of reversing that. Is it possible to continue to do whatever we can, but to also relax into the possibility that this has been a great ride, incredible experiment in incarnation? Maybe this is it. Maybe we are the last generation, or the close to last generation of Homo sapiens. Maybe just like the dinosaurs, it's time for us to go. Maybe there will be a lapse in life on the earth as it recovers, but maybe Earth itself will recover in thousands of years, and new, different kinds of life forms will emerge. Is there a way to be okay with that as a possibility, as now a distinct possibility, as a more and more distinct possibility? Maybe we'll turn it around. Maybe we'll find a way to reverse global warming, put oxygen back into the atmosphere, reduce CO2. Maybe we'll find a way to get plastic back out of all the oceans. Maybe, but maybe not. And if it's a maybe not, could you be okay with that? And I ask you this question, having issued multiple trigger warnings, because really these days, that is the way to find peace. Particularly, everything we face is not just done. It's on a fast moving trajectory, which as yet we have not turned around. So it's not just that we have global warming as a result of carbon dioxide. We are continuing to put more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. We're continuing to have deforestation. So is there a way to be okay with that? Is there a way to live eyes wide open and to realize this is beautiful? This is incredible, and how lucky I am to catch the end of the movie. Is there a way to be okay with that? Because as things continue to accelerate, which logically it seems they have to, as things continue to accelerate, as things continue to get more difficult, that may be what's needed, is to have a disposition of gratitude for each moment and living alongside a willingness to let go. There's a beautiful old Zen story about a man or a woman. I think it's a man in the story, but he's walking beside a cliff. In the twilight, as the sun's going down, he falls off the cliff. And on his way down to his death, he grabs a hold of a root coming out of the cliff. So he's dangling by this root. And he looks below, and in this story, symbolic, he sees a black tiger and a white tiger below on the beach. I don't know how those tigers got on the beach, but anyway, that's what's going on. So he's hanging by this root. And then these two mice come along. Again, it's a black mouse and a white mouse. It's all very symbolic, and start to gnaw at the root. So now he's swinging by this root, and the mice are gnawing at the root. It's just a matter of time. But then he sees over to the side, and there's a wild strawberry growing out of the side of the cliff. And he plucks that strawberry, and he puts it in his mouth, and he says, "Ah, delicious." It's a beautiful story because, the white mouse and the black mouse is gnawing at the root. The black and the white tiger is waiting on the shore below. This is time sensitive. This is on a timer. But you always have the possibility in each moment to pluck the strawberry, to bite down, and to say delicious. So I'm practicing this. I hope you can practice this. I practice it with my wife, who does have the capacity to hold these big visions in herself. She has the possibility to hold it without flinching. And we say to each other frequently, this could be our last day together. This could be our last week. This could be our last month or our last year. But wow, what an opportunity to have another day together. What an opportunity to once again have one more day where we can look at trees and smell perfumes and look at the garden that we grew from our own seeds. What an opportunity to say hallelujah.